What's up, YouTube? So we are back in Babylon again, right across the street from the municipal building at the good old brand new Lennox unit. So yesterday I was here, which would be Tuesday, August 23rd, 2016. And I was here just basically, I never got a chance to really check the system out when we had put the new unit on. And I wanted to come back and just double check the charge, make sure everything was okay. You know, there was a little bit of a little kind of sound when I pulled the one cap off of the suction port to test that. So I was a little concerned, so let me go back and check. I had some time. I was actually working on a unit on the lower roof yesterday as well, so I figured I would pop up here. And what I noticed, and what a couple of you guys noticed, I know Joe Shearer had heard the rattle in this unit, and I didn't think much of it on the last Thursday when we were here putting the unit on, because when I did take my tools off the top of the unit, that rattle did kind of subside. So I figured it was just, you know, a little bit of a vibration and whatnot in the unit, but it was just enhanced from my tools. But I don't know if you guys can see just how bad everything is. It's vibrating pretty good. I mean, I can feel it in my feet on the ground. So when I was here yesterday, just checking everything out, I noticed the same thing. So I had pulled the blower access panel, which is nicely labeled blower access, and as soon as I pulled the door off and the system was running, that vibration got to be absolutely ridiculous. You know, free spinning on the blower, it gets pretty bad, and I'll show you guys that in a minute. So what I did was I pulled the blower and found that the blower wheel had a flat spot in it. Almost like something had just pushed against it and it did whatever, and I tried to straighten it out and get it as best I could for the time being. I ordered a blower wheel, which is here already. So we are going to put that in. So let me see if I can get this door off and show you guys kind of what that rattle sounds like with the door off and how bad it actually is. Alright, so what I just did do is I pulled the Y terminal off of the terminal block just to stop the compressor from running. So you guys can kind of hear that fan, and so this way I'm not bypassing the coil, which is, you know, on the slant in here. So it's not just sucking all the return through here and creating more issues. So, alright, let me get this panel off. Bouncing like that, I mean, on a diesel motor, on something like that, maybe not so bad, but an electric motor and a squirrel cage shouldn't be that bad. So let's get to changing the wheel. So these are the fins that I played with. Like I said, you know, as best I could just with what I had. But there is that flat spot right here on all these fins. Just like this was pressed down. When I got here, the fins were all touching here and they were open here. So it was that bad. But you can see how nasty that bump is. So at RPM, that's pretty, you know, full speed, it's pretty crazy. So we'll get to changing it. Alright, so old one's out. You can kind of see that nasty spot here, how deformed and egged that is. New one's nice and round. Just a quick tip for guys in the field, just because of the fact that I've done it myself. Knowing that the motor is mounting here where these studs are, you want to put the hub with the set screw on the other side. So if I were to put it in this way, there's no way I could get to that. So just before you go driving yourself nuts, you flipped it over from where the motor set screws are. You put the set screw on the other side, you know, the hub, and then you should be good to go. All right, let's get this thing back together. one other thing I want to point out is basically when this motor goes in, it's going in, so the motor's on that side, on the left side. So that's where the wires come in to these terminals. So you've got your common, basically your high and your medium speed. There is no low speed. So basically high and low, but that's just labeled as medium. Putting it back in, if I were to have rotated this and it was here, not a big deal, but just keep in mind when you're zapping everything back in so you don't have to pull it apart again, where the capacitor leads are going to come in over here, so this way they reach, because if this was over here, I wouldn't have reached. So anyway, that's that for that one. Basically what I'm looking for is to kind of an even space between the inlet inside here and the edge of the wheel, kind of on both sides. So definitely a lot less, no wobble in this one, which is a good thing. But this way it's not favoring one side, it's not bypassing any air, everything's good. So we'll get this thing back in. Alright, so it's in. With these new Lennox K series units, the way the blowers wire up, which I found out the hard way, if you guys remember on the one motor that I had burst into flames on me, because that was my bad. It's got two terminals in here. So one regular size take-on and the smaller micro one, if you will. If you remember from before, we had the little terminal block here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 being the small micro one, that's our common. 2 and 3 being our speed legs. 4 would be if it had a third speed. So basically, the way I had it set up was on high. So this one would go in number 2, and the common one goes in common on the micro one. Just make sure we get the terminal. It wants to stay on there. we're not missing it. I'm not a big fan just because they feel like they're so loose. So that's that. So let's fire it up and see what it does. No more wobble. Nice and quiet. Very little deflection in the lower wheel, which is almost damn near impossible to keep it perfect. But no more vibration. I mean, it feels like just a hum. So, we're good to go. So I will, nice quick short little video, well, really not so short, but nevertheless. One of the things you run into with brand new units when you don't check them the way you're supposed to from the start. But we had no cooling calls, so I had to go get to those. This was cooling, so that's why I walked away from it last week when I did. But I'm glad I was here working on one of the other units down on that lower booth, because I was able to come back here, check it, and find this mess. So, alright guys, I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye.